one. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome in and happy Tuesday to you. This is the Rippily Show, everybody. And today we are continuing our feature frenzy series with a feature that has completely changed how many people think about designing experiences inside Rippily. And that is scenes. Who loves some scenes? Let me know out in the audience. Love scenes. At first glance, scenes might seem like a simple organizational tool, but in reality, they open the door to creating journeys, creating environments, experiences that evolve based on where people are and what they're doing. So, on today's show, we're going to talk about what scenes actually are, when they make sense for us to use, and when they might not, and how members of the Ripley community are putting them to work in very creative ways. So, without further ado, I want to get to one of my favorite parts of the Ripley Show, which is our founders spotlight. Please welcome back to the show, Claudio Perone.
Yeah. I'm making it to the favorite part. Yay.
Well, it's so here's what it is. I get the privilege of hearing about certain things within Ripley kind of behind the scenes. And so it takes everything that I have inside me to not just like
Stay
want to
quiet.
scream it to the world, to stay quiet. And so when you get to do this part of the show, I'm like, yes, now I don't have to be quiet anymore. It's so good.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So you have had, I mean, not much different from other weeks, but really a lot going on the last couple of weeks behind the scenes of Ripley. And I do know, number one, that you are working really hard on, the activation part of Ripley. So
Yeah.
really when people join, tell us a little bit about why that experience is so important and really the kind of effort that you're putting into that part of it.
Yeah. So Rippily is a very sophisticated application, right? I mean, it's you can explore, but there's a lot of functionality around. And one of the very first thing that you would focus on is retention. Basically, people who like Rippily, they start playing with Rippily, they stay there, they love it, and they're continuing doing this. And what happens though is, I'll give you an example. Like the other day, I was talking to someone who said, there was a community builder in Discord
Mm.
who looked at Rippily because he thought, okay, from asynchronous, I want to do something that is more live and whatever. And he tried to explore it on his own, right? And the one who introduced Ripley to him said, "I'm going to do you a demo, or you could do a demo, and like a live demo."
Mhm.
Um, Absolutely disregarded all of that. Played with Ripley for I don't know for how long. Found it probably too difficult, or not close to what he was expecting, and decided, "Oh, Ripley is not ready for prime time."
Mm.
And to me, that's
Ouch.
shocking, right? Shocking, like hurt, right? Because there are so many things. And, the more people get to know Repeated, the more you realize how much there is into it. That then I
Mm.
realized, well, I know why, because I build it with community builders who are already familiar on building communities, they understand the value of Ripley. They can actually,
Right.
use a lot of the functionality. But now it's the time to go back and actually say, you know what, rather than disregarding this person and say, it doesn't understand, what Ripley is all about, is more actually to say, well, you know what, the first time experience, the activation part, maybe is right. Maybe it's not ready for prime time.
Mm.
So that's where my next set of functionalities are going to be working towards that, and actually saying, how can we have a top tier application that can really do a lot for communities. How can I improve the first time experience for people? Okay.
Right.
And it's not that we're not doing activities. The Rippily Show is one of them. There's the Rippily Dive. There's a number of things in there. We have people doing demos. We have resources, but maybe they're not as easy to find or easy to explore. So there is this kind of idea of a self-guided exploration that
Mm.
we need to help a little bit more.
Right. Right. Well, you know what's interesting about this, and it's something that's actually, I think, such a great lesson for people that are building within the Ripley platform to remember also, is that not everyone learns in the same way that you do. And I've had this happen very recently where I've had a big realization that my youngest Leah, who we come to love around Ripley because she loves to build on Ripley, but she is not a give me a demo, give me instructions person. She just wants to get in there and figure it out herself. And it's not like an ego based kind of like I know everything kind of energy, but she just loves that exploratory kind of energy. She loves to go in and just see how things work, move things around herself. And so that can be really frustrating on my end where I'm going, okay, but there's clear instructions right here. We could say that to any person. Here's some clear instructions, but not everybody wants to do that. Some people want to
Yeah,
just
and
dive in.
so you could say the same for any application, like say Photoshop, right? If you just explore, chances are you're doing 55% of what Photoshop can do, right?
Right.
More. Um, and the same can be said for Word, even like for a number of top applications. But the point being is, okay, that's fair, and that may also be possible, but we need to minimize the time that it takes for someone to arrive cold, self discover what's available, and be able to set up a room and invite people. I think that's to me is a clear kind of goal of measure of success. People are
Right.
cold, they can build a room. It doesn't have to be the most sophisticated room for sure, but it has to be, usable to the level where they can minimize that kind of time.
Right.
Of course,
Right.
the other possibility in the future as well to improve upon that. But that first time experience is something that I'm taking personally as a lesson, because I realize I've done a lot of stuff even this week. A number of things actually are very advanced. Some of these things are absolutely nowhere else. But then at the same time, they improve our own experience. We love it, and you can create really cool things with that. But at the same time, it doesn't help the first time user.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Absolutely. I know that the audience is split in half as well. Some of the people are saying, that's me. I'm a do and read later kind of person. And others are saying I'm completely the opposite. I've got to have all the instruction and then go back later. And I find myself to be kind of a mix between the two, where I go through all the instructions, but then I go, how far can I how far can I push this? Can I break Ripley today? That's the question. Which I
Yeah.
don't want to do because that's
But
not
it also comes from a second realization, right? Ripley's got some referral, which is baked in, right? In a way, if you're doing an event, you're bringing in other people who come across
nice.
Ripley, and a lot of them love it. But the other part and the other realization is that it is somewhat easier to convert people who are in different other platforms that are not happy with that to actually discover Ripley. And so they're already community builders in another platform, bring them into building communities here in Ripley, than it is to, to bring an attendee to an event and convert that person suddenly in a community builder. It doesn't work like that. So
Yeah.
anyways, this is theories forming as we go, and I think for to reach the hyperscale that Rippily will reach, we need to take an account of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's start with something that is coming soon. And I would like for you to mention the templates that you're working on.
Yeah, so well, actually, it's all related to this activation. One thing is you want to minimize the time. As I said before, it would take for someone cold to create a room. Now, we are really able to create a room from scratch and, blank room and start adding stuff, add backgrounds, scenes, connect them together. There's a lot of stuff there. However, how about you just click a new ripple and then you select from a template based on what you're trying to accomplish? Then that template doesn't have to be like it doesn't necessarily have to be like a basic template. It could be very sophisticated because
Mm,
Ripley can have complex rooms. You want to have breakouts and
right,
stuff like that. Well, you could have a template that does that, right? So
right,
again, it's to think in terms of what people are trying to accomplish. How can we have them to have maybe something put up together very quickly, but also that it looks awesome. And then, of course, people like us, we are all creative, and so we would change everything. I would never use a templated room personally, but I could
yeah,
start from there. I would change it right away. Why look like we were just talking about twins, right? Just a few
yeah,
minutes ago.
yeah,
Why having a room that then is a twin or someone else's? No way, no way. I'm going for my events. I would use something different.
yeah.
But it's not everyone is like that, right? If your goal is to host, maybe you don't really care about how unique your room is as long as you create a great experience for others. And this is another thinking about who creates these templates, maybe people who are really thinking about the experience, and so we could put together something really, really cool.
Right. And I think it's helpful to for people coming in and maybe they do have the desire to learn how to build things on Ripley, but they just don't know how yet. And so to give them something really beautiful to put in place while they're learning, and then they can go back and replace it later. It's not, not set in stone. And so I really like that idea for people that are new coming in that maybe they want to learn down the line, but they're just not there yet. So I think that'll be great as well. Also, you're working on, and now I know that this is going to be a little bit longer until it's live, but you're working on chat. Do you want to talk about what that is and why?
Yeah, so imagine this: you're in the editor, you have all these cool tools, and again, first time, maybe you're stuck. Maybe you need support. Now we have an email for support. You have the help file. You have a change log to know what's new. The reality is that you may not have an easy way to access this information, or at least not be,
Mm,
it wouldn't be the first thing. And so, like, I'm integrating, I'm testing this basically like a chatbot slash live chat, right? We will do tests to actually to see how much it scales. But basically, imagine having levels where it starts with the chatbot. You're asking questions. It will look into the help. Maybe it will point you to the right help file. Um, and again, it's about the experience, right? How can we help people to create this stuff? I'm not talking about an agentic chat quite yet. An agentic chat would be something that builds it for you. That would be maybe down the line, but right now it's just something that will really help you to, again, find the right help files when needed, maybe escalate to a live chat, and from the live chat, maybe escalate to a live demo, right? So that's the idea, is to have
love it.
some level of support.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, look, again, it goes back to what we were just talking about, how people learn in different ways. And so people also reach out for help or don't reach out for help in different ways as well. And so giving them several options, I think, is always a good thing. Someone's asking in the chat, can it be a hybrid where it starts out as a bot, but upon request puts you through to a live person for the chat support?
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to work, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bot first, also because it doesn't scale otherwise, right?
Yeah.
I know there's people who are going to help me, but I want to sleep, you know, as well.
Sleeping is good, especially now that we have a gorgeous sleep mask that we
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, the other thing is you could even, I'm debated if to, I mean, funny enough, you're saying down the line, it's not so much down the line, it's going to be soon, maybe this week, because I
yeah.
already implemented it. But the idea there is maybe to do a so-called concierge, where basically you do it manually. It could be live chat at the beginning, understand what kind of questions people ask. Based on that, you improve the chatbot, or vice versa. You start with the chatbot that links to the help. Based on the questions, anyways, you see what needs to be escalated. And maybe it's not for everyone right away. Maybe it's a subset of people. And again, to see, do actually people use it to begin with?
Yeah.
Do I want people to use it as well? That's another
Right.
question.
Right.
Which I'm
I
not too
love that.
sure.
I
I'm
personally, right
scared.
now, I love that everybody in the chat is volunteering each other to be a part of the chat support team. Everybody's volunteering each other, and I love that you all love each other that much to volunteer each other for sure. Because
That's great.
customer service. I've been in customer service for years. It's a fun time. We'll just leave it at that. And so, anyway, I know that some of this stuff, the templates and the chat and all of that, are things that maybe not everybody here is necessarily interested in. However, we have some other very exciting things that Claudio has been working on that I think everybody will really love. And I'm super excited because I know there are going to be some people thrilled about the brand new shields.
Oh, the shields. Yeah. So there's a couple of people in this very room, maybe even three, maybe more, who, from time to time they would say, Claudio, I missed a bit, So we had this well, this great idea, if I might say so, of having streaks on Rippily. So every time you log in, but not just log in, you enter a Ripple, you get your streak, right? It continues and gets a mark. And but what happens, of course, from time to time, life goes on, and some people sometimes miss a day. They think they did it, but then they didn't. Anyways, and so I took note from some of the top applications around who actually do this kind of stuff well, and there is this concept of shields. So the way it works is that the shield protects you, right? So if you skip a day, the shields will protect you for that day, so you can continue the streak. So the way it works in Rippily is you can't buy shields; you need to earn them. And I know there's others who sell it. I think it no way. Okay, so the idea there is you earn the shields. So every 7 days of a continuous clean streak, you gain a shield, and you can gain up to 2 shields, no more. Okay. So again, you may miss a weekend, say Saturday, Sunday, or Jessica, you go to the Capitol, they take you to prison after protesting, whatever. So there's the risk of missing that day. Then you have a shield to protect you. Okay.
I wouldn't have been so stressed out if I had that back then. I had people ready to log in on my behalf had I been thrown in prison. So, but now I don't have to worry about that because now we
Yeah,
have
exactly.
streaks.
Exactly. You can pay others, you can do all this kind of work, right? But at least now you have the shields, and I have less customer support's called. So again, do not use the chat if you're losing the streak. The shield is there for you.
There you go. There you go. Two other things that we mentioned briefly on the last episode, and we've also been diving into it on Saturdays as well, is two other features. One is sliders, and the other I can't even say without a tear. It makes me so excited. And that's permeable breakouts. And so
Yes, yes.
I know that there are a few, if you want to get into the slider part as well, I would love to show that while you're talking.
Yeah, so a slider is, as simple as it may, basically a slider, okay, enables you to slide from a range, right, of two numbers. And so imagine 0 to 100, that would be the default. You have a slider that is attached to a variable. And now we can have also like that. You see, there's a history there. So that's the villa that I'm buying with your money. Just kidding, of course. But anyways, it's kind of a Tony Stark villa in basically by where I'm from, like Liguria, in the Riviera, right? And so we often for the dive we meet in Villa Riviera. This sound like, it kind of looks like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so the way it works now, we have this slider which is completely customizable. What do you put there? I have it small. Is it a hammer?
It's a hammer.
It's a
Yeah.
hammer. Oh, lovely. Okay. And so because it is completely customizable, the track, you can put an image as well on the track, right? The line.
Yep.
You can orient it in a different way. You can and basically can change a variable, but also when it changes, you can also drive actions. So it's got states. It's a first class citizen, exactly the same as all the other elements that we have. And so at that point, you can create stuff like this one, like history. Or another one is it could be visibility, for example. That's another animatable sort of property. We have several animatable properties, like transform properties, like width, height, rotation. Opacity is one of them. So you could have your show where you have the slider that turns on the lights, for example, in a very interesting way. So there's really interesting work that can happen there. And it took me forever to build. I did not think, I completely underestimated how long it would take. So it took me basically 5 times the time I thought it was going to take. And but they're going to be super useful. It will be great to see how everybody uses it. You can also attach it. Maybe another thing to say, I know we will do, actually I know you will do a dive, will you? Maybe we'll talk about the dive this week,
We'll
but I
talk
can't
about
wait.
it. Yeah.
But you can attach it to sound as well. You can now sound elements have a variable as well. They depend, basically is the main in the mixer would be on the sound level, so you can control that sound as well.
Okay.
And then we have breakouts. So the two, I guess what we did explain here is not even permeable breakouts. This is breakouts that have are now can deal with different scenes. So we can have effects like this one, right? So this one, again, if you scroll, we're in a completely different scene, but we have continuity on the breakouts. So a breakout that was the same breakouts, pink breakout in one scene, I can now change dimensions in a completely different scene. So we have continuity. It's the same breakouts, but different people can have a different experience. You may prefer to talk to me in the zoomed in scene, right, in the zoomed in room, while I'm in the grids, like the original grids where we are there. And so now breakouts really deal across scenes really, really well. And then of course we have permeable breakouts. It will be good to show it next week, I would say.
Yeah.
But imagine the idea that a couple of you have tended to do or talked about doing. One was you, Jessica. You actually asked for that particular case. Susan, for example, was trying to attempt that before, where breakouts are, how can I say, they are typically, they are for the platforms who do support it. There are not that many actually, but basically they are soundproof, right? You enter in a breakout zone, you cannot hear anything from the outside. But what if instead you could enter a room and had leak sound from the outside, so the open sound? So again, the real use case would be, well, one of the real use cases would be you're in a party, you have boom, 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 and all the music on the open space. And then you want to talk to someone, you go into a room, you can still hear the music from the outside because maybe it's 20, 30% volume, but you can have a conversation. You're still part of the party. And in fact, if you are in one of those, you would be able to turn your own volume. If if the creator allows that, you can turn your own volume. So that's a real unique feature, I guess.
It's
Rippily
huge.
rules.
It's
Yeah.
it's huge because I've said this before where my goal in building virtually has been how close can we get to the in-person experience. And this is important for some people. For some people, they still have that very staunch separation between online and real life, as a lot of people refer to it. And I don't think in that way. And the reason why is because I've had a lot of clients over the years who, for whatever one reason or another, they don't get to get out of the house quite a bit. And so to be able to take them on an experience that is completely accessible, where they're having a very realistic experience for them online, where even the sound now is going to behave the way it would in an offline experience, it's incredible. And so that's why I really do, I get a little emotional about it. It's amazing. I'm excited to play with it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing I want to add is there are other things behind the scenes that are working better. Again with alternative browsers, there's some challenges there, so I'm trying to work around a number of those. iPhone for sound is dreadful. Again, had to do some real work, especially with volume. Oh my God,
Yeah,
iOS is unbelievable. So, anyways, I worked a lot around that. So things that I don't know. I want to say we take for granted they should just work, and they simply don't. And so you have to work hard at it if it's even possible.
right,
Sometimes.
right.
Um, yeah, many small updates. I've been really working, and you know why? It's because of the World Cup. I've been working really, really hard, but watching the World Cup, I said I may just as well keep working on code and do stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
So going to bed at 2, but now I have my new golden sleep mask, which I love. Father's Day, is so I can sleep a little bit more in the morning, and that's it.
Love it.
So that's the key.
Love it. Well, thank you for all these amazing updates, and I can't wait to see all of the new stuff that I'm sure will be coming very soon. And then really getting into, like you're talking about, the all of the specifics around activation, because the more that we are all sharing about Ripley and new people are coming in all the time, we know that they're going to have a better and better experience coming in because of the work that you're doing. So we certainly, even though it might not be something that benefits us directly, we really appreciate it because it means a better experience for those people that we're inviting in the door. So it's going to be
Indeed. And indeed, I need everybody's help to, share their experience, introduce others, make the life of others, just better.
yeah,
Because we take a lot of things for granted at this point, but many of us in the short story of Ripley have been in here from basically day one, right? And so it's a different kind of experience if you
yeah,
grow organically
right.
versus being there cold. And so that's the idea.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here again today. We appreciate you. Everybody,
Thank you.
please give it up for Claudio. All right. I have a special guest for you guys today, but before we invite her on, out of all the things that Claudio mentioned, head over to the chat and let us know what is your favorite feature that he's working on right now or that has come out very recently. Let us know in the chat. While you are doing that, I am actually going to launch our very first poll of the day because today's topic is all about scenes. So the question is, have you used scenes in your Ripley space yet? Yes, regularly. I've experimented with them, not yet, but I want to, or I'm still learning about them. That is the question for you in the chat. Some of the answers coming in: favorite features look like sliders, permeable breakouts, sliders. How do you choose? I think the permeable breakouts, all of them, loving the breakouts. Everybody's super excited about all the features. So we love that. While you're participating in the poll, I want to bring on our special guest today. She is the creator of the Tech Alchemy community and does so much work with people who are neurodivergent and building these amazing online spaces. So without further ado, please welcome to the show, Artemis. Hi,
Hi.
Artemis. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for all the flowers. You're making me blush. It's
We
great to
love
be here.
the flowers, the confetti. We got to have the crowns. Let me get some crowns and hearts going. Yes.
There we go.
Love it. All right. So I messaged you and I was like, we're going to be talking about scenes. And you were the first person that popped into my mind because you have one particular room that has scenes that I just love. And I just think it's so iconic and really ties so beautifully into what I was talking about with creating an experience online that is very similar to an offline experience. And it's as simple as turning a light off and on. And so I was thinking about you with that. But in the work that you have done, Artemis, with your community, how important has scenes been to your building process?
Scenes are really important because they create an experience and they
Mm,
allow you to provide information without overloading. And that's really important.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
the scene you're referring to in the reading room was my first experience scene, and I had so much fun with that. It was an idea of, okay, when you're sitting somewhere reading, everybody has a little nook where they like to read if they're readers. Do you want the light on or do you want the light off? Because each is a super different experience. Personally,
Right.
I like this room with the light off. That's a lot of fun.
So here we have the light on, and then you simply click the light and it turns off. And I just love, oh my gosh, I just love the moon and how the clouds have changed and everything just sort of dims a little bit. And I also really love the little breadcrumb you kind of have in the room. And I don't know, I'm sure it was intentional, knowing you, I'm sure it was, but this is a room where you're turning the light off and on, right? But what are the seats? The seats are a light bulb. Like, of course it is, because we're turning the light off and on.
It has to be. Actually, to be honest, a light bulb has become almost like my icon
Mm.
because it's also for really great ideas. But yes, light bulb is a must.
Love it. Love it. So good. So good. And so I want to go back. I'm actually going to go all the way back to the entry of your space because you have this is a space that you've been working on for a little while. And this one uses scenes to kind of take people through an experience of getting to know you. And I think that this is really important to point out because sometimes people see scenes in this like storytelling light. And we'll show an example of that coming up here shortly. But they might see it in a storytelling light and think, I don't understand how I can tie this into my business. How could I make it work for what I do? And what you've created here, Artemis, is a way for people to learn about you and have a really easy way to work with you after they learn about you. So tell us about the process here, and if you were telling someone how to go through the scenes, take me through.
Well, I'm really excited about this. We all have websites. This is almost like a virtual business card with an experience. First, you come in, you can hand out this URL to people and say, come in and this is what you'll experience when you work with me. So, of course, the first page has to be, well, who am I and why am I here? And of course, you have the little, you can press in case of self doubt. Everybody needs a little fairy dust.
Love that.
So, this gives you a little piece and it says, okay, well, I'm here to help you. So, come on in. So, then you check the button. Hopefully, everyone realizes it's a button. And then you're in this lounge. Come on in, sit down. And hopefully, you're curious about what's it going to look like if I were to decide to work with you and how would that happen? So, if you just move your mouse around, you get um, little information boxes that come up, and it tells you every step what you can expect. This is really important for a lot of neurodivergent people because some of us like to be pre warned. We don't like to be overwhelmed. We like to know what we're walking into.
Right.
So then it's up to you. If you're having a day where maybe you're all stressed out, maybe you don't really want to go into deep detail right now, just leave it at the gate, take a breath, and come in. And of course, you go to a new scene. You can turn the sound on or off. I don't want to overwhelm you, but the directions are there. So you say, click me, and then you click on the light bulb. Again, sound on or off. You've come in and now you have another direction, click me. So if you've come from the outside world, when you click that, there's the entrance. Come on into the community. And that just takes you to the lobby.
Love
So
it.
then you can return to the how we'd work or the lounge again. And now you're really curious. It's like she gets me, she sees me. Well, I hope that's what people are thinking. So then you want to go a little deeper, and you'll notice I reuse this room because I love it.
Love it. Yes.
So hopefully what you're going to find when you come in here is all your questions are answered. You're invited to the next workshop. Where can I find out what you charge and what you do? So click that little arrow. I should probably mark that. And you have the page on my website that explains my pricing schedule and how all of that works as well. So hopefully, this has become a virtual business card.
Love
Everything the
it.
person needs to know about you. And you wouldn't be able to do this without scenes. It creates an experience, it provides information. In the newest workshop I'm building, scenes are so important because you want to impart. It's not just a, oh, come in and listen to me drone on Bueller, Bueller,
Anyone, anyone.
right? So you want people to engage with you. You want their attention right away. So my newest workshop is you come to a bus stop on a rainy day. So we have a little chat there, and I pull up some. I'm able to display 3 pieces of information to people in that room, so they're not overwhelmed. And then you go to the next scene, and then you find yourself in. Well, I'm not going to tell what it's all about, but you find yourself in the next room, and you can take a breath and relax and start to learn.
Yeah.
So you don't want to overdo it with scenes, though. I think
Yeah,
because you just get
absolutely.
comfortable in a spot, and then all of a sudden you're moved. But I think
Mm,
scenes are really important to create that experience and that flow so that you can convey your information in a guided, logical way.
right, right. Before I close this out, I have to tell you guys that the snacks are snackable. Okay. You guys, can you? I come in here for my calorie-free virtual snacks often. Okay.
I do too, I have to admit. The tea is my favorite part, though.
Love it.
It's bottomless.
Yes, I love it so much. Oh my gosh. It's one of my favorite things about the space. And but I want to go back to what you were talking about sort of the the shoulds of the scenes, because now I will start out by saying that obviously everybody should do what works for them and their community, but I think there are some really good guidelines which I'm excited are included. There's some little thoughts about scenes that are included in the swag bag for all of our studio audience members today, so we love that. But I think that there is a good point of reference. Like, if you are going to use scenes, there's also the part that we can do as a host to prep our attendees that are there for a workshop or just visiting or whatever, and saying things like, I'm going to take you on a visual journey, if you are going to be the one to manipulate the scenes, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm implementing something that I haven't before, and Shadows may or may not have suggested it, but telling people maybe 30 seconds before you change the scene,
Hmm,
just to kind of give them so it doesn't jar them. I mean, and then there's other times that you want to shock them because you want
right.
their full attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a good bit of that happens here in the Ripley show as well, because we have moments that are very expected. You kind of know, well, if you're coming in, at this point that when the intro plays, it's going to be me. When a guest comes on, they're going to be pulled onto the scene. But sometimes there's those little things, like you said, that we want to do that are just fun and are surprising for people. And it's always, I think, for brand new people coming into a platform like this, would you agree that there is a certain like shock factor that happens?
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It really is. Your Ripley Show, your intro, and then, the intermission that all of a sudden it comes up and there's the music and the color, and I love it. It's exciting.
Yes, absolutely. So we did finish our poll, by the way. Have you used scenes in your Ripley space yet? 56% says yes, regularly we use scenes. 22% is a tie between I've experimented with them and I'm still learning about them. But nobody has said not yet. I haven't tried at all. So I love that. Love that everybody's playing around with those so far. And I would love to hear from you guys next. Where do you think scenes are the most valuable? Events and conferences, workshops and classes, community spaces, or self guided experiences? And you can feel free to choose as many of those as you'd like. What are your thoughts on that, Artemis?
I'm glad you said we could choose as many as we'd like, because I was looking at those going, "Well, how do you pick?"
Right.
Because they're good for almost any situation, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the, Global Business Plaza has a really cool room that Peggy put together, and she has a different the one room does 2 or 3 different jobs. She
Mm,
just changes the scene.
yeah.
That's a really good way. I mean, when you only have so many ripples that you can build in a wave. So that's a really good way of being budget wise, so to speak.
Right. And can we talk about for just a minute? See, I waited to do this till Claudio was not on the screen so he didn't get too shy, embarrassed about his amazingness. But on the very first level of Ripley, when you purchase a subscription, you get 25 scenes per Ripple.
That's a
Five
lot.
Five scenes, 25 times five, boys and girls. That's 125 scenes that you get on the what? What is that? It's so generous. I was saying to someone yesterday, I knew this, but then I had forgotten about it. So I go and look and I'm like, how many scenes are we working with here? And I was like, oh, he really is generous. I'm glad he's not here to hear this. But it's so good. And so there's so many possibilities for sure that you can do with scenes. Our Claudia's, I knew I was undercharging. But so where do you think scenes are the most valuable? We have almost even across the board the top two events and conferences and self-guided experiences. And then second place even is workshops and classes and community spaces. And so there really is, the possibilities are endless of what you can use scenes for. Can you think of anything, Artemis, any experiences or times when maybe changing a scene wouldn't be appropriate?
Oh, that's a really tough question.
I think so too. So that's why I'm giving it to you.
I really can't think of any. I mean, really, when you look about it, our own thought processes. How many times do you
Mm,
change scenes when you're thinking of something in your head?
yeah, yeah.
No, I can't think of a. I'm sure there is one out there somewhere, but I can't think of it.
Now, the only thing that I have scaled back, well, and by scaled back, guys, it's such a big phrase. But I scaled back my own office because what I have found for new people coming in is that the amount of fidgets that I had in my office, like just like right out of the gate, people can tend to get a little distracted by those things, and then even some of like the scene changes and things. I think there we always run the risk in design of going a little too far and people not being able to focus on why they're actually in the space. And so I think with scenes, the same as other features, it's important to go, okay, is this really fulfilling a need? Does it fit the purpose of the space? Or am I just doing it because scene changes are fun? you know?
That's a really good point, Jessica. And come to think of it, I don't have a scene change in my office.
Mm,
And I think that's because it's more of a focused come and chat. When you're in
right.
an maybe when you're in a really intimate situation, you don't need a scene change.
Right. I think so. I have the scene changes in my office for seasons. Like I change the view out of my window depending on what season it is, but it's not something that everybody else can click on. Like at the start of the season, I change, to that. And so scene changes don't have to be an experience where somebody's clicking on something all the time. It could simply be something that's seasonal, or like you were mentioning the Global Business Plaza for a different class. We have a workshop room that is very similar, where depending on who's teaching the class, the background will change. So it's not even that the scene has to change during an individual experience, but just the possibility of like, oh, I can change the vibe for the day, for the month, for the season. Something like that, I think, is useful. Would you say?
Absolutely, and especially if I can feed the rabbit.
Yeah, we always have to feed the rabbit. By the way, if you have not been to my office in a minute, there are people that have been in there just absolutely disturbed that the carrots are not out and ready to feed the rabbit. All you have to do, everyone, is click on the remote and you can press the carrot button and the carrots will appear for you. Okay, so don't be upset. The carrots are still there. Carrots are still there. Thank you so much, Artemis, for sharing about your space today. And I know that you were have been joining us on Saturdays at the dives that we do together. What is your favorite part of the dives on Saturdays?
The lessons. I
The
love the chat ahead of time, but the lessons. And you're such a good teacher. And yes, Claudio, you're a good teacher too. But you're not Jessica. The flow of your lessons, and it doesn't matter what you're teaching, whether it's some trick that you do while you're teaching us how you do things, or whether it's the content itself, I always learn so much.
Awesome. Awesome. I love to hear that. Well, and we love the badges too. And I heard that there was some people. So Claudio taught the last dive, and I have gotten messages from people who are used to me giving the badge that have gone, "Where's my badge for this last
Well, it's
week?
quite a letdown.
Can you please get with Claudia?" So, for all of you that came to the dive on Saturday, I did make a badge for you on behalf of Claudia. We talked about it, and I said, I can make one for you if you want. So, just message me your link to your room. You can do it right now if you would like, and I will be sure you get your badge if you have not gotten one for last Saturday yet. And I'm very excited because we are going to kind of continue some of the things that we were talking about in the beginning this coming Saturday at the dive as well. Check it out. I just want to go swimming there. Can we go swimming in the water? Claudio, what was up with the badge? What's up with the badge? You're muted.
Sorry, I can't use my platform. The badge that just I warn you, the badge that Jessica created for me this week it doesn't look as good. Just to remind everyone how much better the dive is when she teaches. All right, just
Even though I did not
kidding.
teach the
It's
dive,
beautiful.
I still put a
It's
whole lot of
beautiful.
heart in
Thank
that
you.
badge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So why we all come for the dive? For the badges. Of course.
Yes, we love that. And I'm fine that I'm behind that because I tell people all the time. We had a new person come in last week who was like, I don't understand the badge thing. Like, what do I do with them? Where do I put them? And I'm like, you put them wherever you want. You guys remember back when we were in school and we do good on a paper and we get a gold star sticker on it, and how amazing that felt, right? And I used to collect stickers as a child. So this is my adult version of my sticker book.
Yeah,
So I love
absolutely.
it.
But badges aside, for everyone who is booked for next Saturday, just cancel everything you're doing, because I saw the room that actually Jessica just built for it. And forget the badges. You got to see this. You got to see that. It's absolutely awesome.
The dive is the gift Saturday, you guys,
Yeah.
because when I tell you, I was like, I don't want to give this one away. I don't want to give it away. I want to keep it for myself. And so
Weren't we
I love
laughing and
y'all that
say,
much.
we were just laughing and say, this is too good. They don't deserve it.
It really is. It really is so good. And I had a couple of friends behind the scenes who helped me with some of the content for the room as well. And it's gonna be so good. And it includes some of what we've been talking about, which are sliders, breakouts, permeable breakouts. Mhm.
Yeah, because we've done a bit of sliders and a bit of breakouts at the dive, but these were soundproof, right? Now
Yeah.
with leaked breakouts, and it's just like it's such a beautiful room. Anyway,
It's gonna be good, you
it
guys.
really is.
I can't spoil it, you guys, because it's so fantastic. But just know that you need to be there. Just that's all you need to know. And there will be a badge. There will be a badge, but the I think the dive in itself is a pretty good gift because it's a good one. It's a
Bit of
good
pressure now to deliver.
now I got to make sure I have it all together. All right. So listen, final poll for you today. Which approach to scenes do you prefer? Do you prefer one consistent space with no scenes, a few intentional scene changes, lots of dynamic environments, or does it depend completely on the experience for you? Let us know in the last poll of the day. Think I know where this is going to go, which is perfect. But at any rate, anything to sum up today, Claudio, about scenes from your perspective?
So since it's something that has been with me for a long time at this point, right? And so I don't want to say I'm taking it for granted, but if you step back and you actually say, why do we have scenes for a communication platform? Right?
Mm,
Like think about this, right? If you take the example of, I don't know, Zoom, just to name someone, right? Why would you have like scenes like this? And yet, from the introduction of scenes, a completely different paradigm is evolved, right? Because you could have just a few scenes to create different moods. I used it a lot for storytelling. If you've seen a lot of the rooms that I created, they're full stories, right? And so I would have characters moving from one scene to the next one and tell a story
mm,
like this, or a presentation where people are immersed in the presentation itself. So the slide is a scene, right? And so again, you're creating experiences that are very, very different, and so they're very flexible. And I'm finding a hard time. I see, again, there are rooms where sometimes you just meet and you just need one scene just to create that mood. But I always have some extra scene on the back just in case.
on standby.
Yeah, on standby. I don't use them all the time, but they are there
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah. It's nice, and that's I think ties in beautifully to what Artemis and I were talking about with, it's not to say that scenes have to take you through a whole 56 scene story as you go in there, but you could change it out, depending on the mood. Susan was talking about she loves that people can go in without her and pick the vibe that they want to match their mood in the moment, and
Yeah.
it's seasonal and things as well.
Well, I mean, an important feature as well that again we take for granted is that you basically have two ways of navigating scenes. It could be the host that introduces you to a new scene, a new scene, or it could be a self experience, right? You have autonomy in many cases to go to a scene without impacting everyone else, and so you could have your own experience. That's
Right.
also important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our poll results, which approach to scenes do you prefer? 100%. It depends on the experience. And I think I would agree with that as well. Any final thoughts from you, Artemis, about scenes, our scene topic today?
I would have to say that scenes are something that really I can't even think of the words. I'm having a brain fart moment. Okay, Peggy said, if just because you can, should you? I think
Mm,
my final thought on that is we get so involved in what we're doing that we tend to maybe go really big. And
mm.
sometimes we need to scale back. But scenes are the most amazing feature that you built into this so far, Claudio, because it's so amazing to create an experience and then hear people come back and say, wow, I've never had that experience anywhere else before. And they remember it. And that's what we're looking for.
Right. Absolutely. And I love, I will have to finish with Teresa's words that she said out there, which is because a picture is worth 1,000 words. The scene has the ability to speak for you in ways that I don't feel like words always can. Yes, words can say a lot, but a scene can really set the scene for what you're trying to portray. And I think that that's great. It's great. Everybody, please give it up for our studio audience today. Don't look amazing. Love that. And as I said, everybody in our studio audience every week, it gets an amazing swag bag, which is a good one this week, which also includes a little infographic to seen or not to seen. That is the question. So we love that as well. And so I hope you guys enjoy that also. We're going to be back next week as we continue our Feature Frenzy series, and we're going to be diving in to breakouts, talking all about breakouts on next episode. And then to give you a little more farther ahead, July 7th episode, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, getting started, first things first. And I think templates will probably be ready by that time. And so we could get people started right from the beginning of their Rippily experience, which will be great as well. Thank you guys for being here today. Good to see you all. Appreciate you. It was a great show. And what I love about scenes is they are not just about creating more spaces. They're about creating the right spaces for the message that you are trying to get out into the world. Whether you're guiding people through an event, separating activities, creating a progression, or simply making navigation easier, scenes give you another way to shape the experience intentionally. Thank you for joining us for today's Feature Frenzy conversation. We'll be back next week with another feature, more examples from the community, and more ideas to help you build experiences that people enjoy returning to. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. This is Claudio Perrone and Artemis. Thank you guys both for being here today. And thank you to our studio audience. And we'll see you on another episode of The Rippily Show. Have a good day, everybody.
Yay.